Hi, everyone. I'm coming at you today to talk about the latest update to Diablo Immortal. So, they put out the new 2024 roadmap, and I spent the day gathering juicy details and things like that. The end goal of this roadmap is really to be ready to face Diablo at the end of the year. And so, in order to do that, they've done quite a few things. So, what I'm going to do is kind of give a high level overview of what they've done. Then, we're going to hear from the game developers. And then I will add all the juicy tidbits that I've been able to collect through the day on what all is going on. So, I guess first and foremost here, in a couple of weeks, we should see new features that are in the game that are going to be called Terror Rifts and Oblivion Pillars. So these are going to function as part of the role to get this new equipment called Eternal Equipment. And we will also have a new elite quest involving Deckard Cain. So that will be in a couple weeks coming up. Also, guys, in a couple weeks, we are going to get a couple days, maybe even on the 27th or so. We may see a whole new class. We're definitely going to see a whole new class. The exact date isn't certain, but we will see that. And some people speculate it'll be the assassin class due to some images that were released previously. Then sometime from April to June, we are going to see a whole new Paragon system. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll be good. But we're going to see a whole new Paragon system. And then we'll see a new equipment system that will also be coming. We're going to get new Helicree bosses and new game modes, and then have our Cursed Solstice event that will begin during that time. Then in July to September, we're going to see the new main chapter Worldstone quest line. So we'll see that, a new main chapter quest. And then we'll get some dungeon updates. So we haven't had dungeon updates in a while, so we'll get some of those. That'll be nice. We'll get a new co-op mode and a Cursed Towers update. And then our Hallows Wake event will begin. And then our grand finale really comes in October through December, and that'll consist of part 2 of the main chapter Worldstone quest. And we will get a whole new zone to play in. And I'm guessing that maybe that'll have something to do with Diablo, since we're going to fight Diablo at that point in time, that new zone might be where it's at. We'll see. And we're going to get some new Helicree bosses. So now let's sort of listen to what the game developers have to say about what's to come. Okay. So,
Happy New Year, Diablo Immortal fans.
It's March, Scott.
Happy spring, then.
I think it's still freezing in a lot of places.
Well, it sounds like the perfect time to warm yourselves up in the burning hells of Diablo Immortal. Hi, I'm Scott Burgess, lead content designer on Diablo Immortal.
And I'm John Yu, lead system designer on Immortal. We have so much information to share with you. We're going to break down our 2024 roadmap, highlighting the key features that we're excited about, and we think you will be too.
And then we're going to do a deep dive into 2.3 and what to expect in the latest patch. So let's take a closer look at the year ahead and all the upcoming content to get hyped about.
2024 will be the year of terror, with Diablo making his return to Sanctuary. So to be prepared for his arrival, there will be challenges to test your mettle and new gear that you'll need in order to prepare yourselves for the fight of your lives.
But you won't have to do it alone. There's a new challenger ready to enter the fray. Coming soon, we will be dropping our brand new class called the... Just kidding, you'll have to wait a bit longer for that one, pals. But we can't say it's unlike any other class you've seen before in the Diablo universe.
Speaking of the Diablo universe, we'll be kicking off the summer with our 2nd anniversary celebrations. There'll be a lot of events and challenges to earn that sweet, sweet loot.
So sweet. Not too sweet, but just sweet enough. Also coming later this year is the new main chapter quest. And we're excited to introduce fresh gameplay features and events.
The story continues as the Dark Lord himself grows stronger. His presence will be felt throughout this entire year, culminating in his infamous return.
As we build up to his return, there will be a series of special events in what we're calling the Age of Unmaking. The first of which kicks off with our latest update.
Diablo and his minions are clawing to get back to the world of Sanctuary. Their attempts to rip through our world have created terrorists all throughout the land, and you must delve into them to fight back the forces of hell.
You'll find the terror rifts are in the open world, and upon entering, you will discover a warped version of Sanctuary, where nothing is what it seems. These are challenging areas littered with monsters that are imbued with the increased power of demonic affixes. Dangerous threats roam the lands, and if you slay them, you will be rewarded with terror essence.
Now, when you gather enough of these terror essences, they can be consumed at an Oblivion Pillar, which will take you to a dangerous boss. But this won't just be any boss fight. The monsters waiting for you on the other end of this will be some of the hardest battles we've ever built for Diablo Immortal.
But only if you're skilled enough. If you defeat these epic bosses, you will have a chance to be rewarded with Eternal Gear.
These items can have up to 4 magical properties on them. Eternal Gear will be some of the most powerful items in the game.
Another awesome feature that will be coming in 2.3 are Hellslayer bounties.
Now, these are rare special bounties that will take you on a quest to complete a modified Oblivion Pillar. Throughout the year, there'll be more events, challenges, and game modes that will all be a part of our special endgame system, the Age of Unmaking.
It's been a great start of the year for Diablo Immortal, and we have a whole lot more content and updates coming your way. We hope you enjoyed 2.3, and good luck getting that Eternal Gear. You're gonna need it if you want to be prepared for the war with Diablo himself.
Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you in Sanctuary.
Happy New Year. Happy March.
All right.
Are you done?
I'd think I am.
Did you say I'd think I am? Really? Wow, that's actually pretty good. That was clever.
Okay, so that is the update basically for what the developers are giving us here. So the juicy gossip, things I was able to get my hands on. So I found out that with these terror rifts, they are, as they said, a new way to interact with the world maps. The monsters are going to be harder to kill, so I'm going to guess they're going to be more like the dungeon, the monsters you see in the hidden layers in the dungeons, because that is what tends to be a little harder than your normal. So I'm guessing that's what it is. We're also going to be able to get fragments when we're in there that we can trade at these spires to get the eternal equipment. We're also going to be able to farm terror essences from the terror rifts, which we're going to need to open the Oblivion Pillars and to make Hellslayer bounties. I have heard now that the terror rifts, they're not just 24/7, okay? So they are going to be available 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. server time. So they're not going to be open all the time. They're opening every 30 minutes for about 13 minutes. I do not know if it's going to work, or if a player snags it, it's gone like a hidden layer, or if we can do these in parties, or how exactly it's going to work. They haven't released the specifics on that exactly. The Oblivion Pillars, those are going to be a little harder, but they're supposed to give us a chance to get Eternal Gear when we do them. And once we get inside, you have to face waves of monsters leading to a fairly difficult final boss. And it's going to require Terror Essence to open those. And then for the Hellslayer bounties, apparently we exchange 4 regular bounties and 1 Terror Essence in exchange for a single Hellslayer bounty, and these give us the chance for the new Eternal Gear as well. The new Eternal Gear is supposed to have like 3 attributes and 4 magical affixes, and overall the updates are going to give us 7 to 8 new affixes per class. So those are the major updates and the extra information that I was able to obtain. So that is what I have found. Now, they did put out another statement just recently on here. And so what they're saying is that terror rifts are spiked gateways through which Diablo's forces launch their assault. They have burst out of Sanctuary's topsoil. You must bravely venture into these hellish plains of reality to halt incoming invaders. Terror rifts are active every day from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. server time. During each block, 3 3 maps in the game are going to be invaded at random, with one Terror Rift portal appearing in a zone at 30-minute intervals. Zones with active Terror Rift portals are denoted on the world map, and you track down a portal to enter them. Inside, throngs of brutish monsters will oppose you. Cut them down to acquire glowing red orbs known as Stygian fragments. After gathering 200 fragments from fallen foes, displayed via the progress bar, you're going to scout around for a Stygian spire. Sacrificing the required fragments is one of the pointed beacons will initiate a one-on-one fight with a beefier opponent. Toppling this enemy will grant a rewards chest. Complete this process as many times as you can within the 13-minute period to press toward more plentiful rewards, including rewards chests. You can earn rewards up to 10 times a week from the Terror Rifts. These reset every Monday at 3 a.m. server time. Once you acquire all the weekly rewards, you can continue to run rifts, but will only be able to earn drops from enemies. So it says here that a successful run, whether solo or with a group of up to 4 others, will be met with a chance to earn eternal equipment and other rewards from each rewards chest you receive. Terror Rifts can be played starting at Inferno difficulty 1, with the quality of rewards received scaling with the difficulty level. Should Hell's forces overtake you during a run, half of your fragments will be dropped. After respawning, you can pick up your dropped fragments. The key to continued carnage, they say, are the terror essences. So Terror Essence is an item that's essential to partaking in Oblivion Pillars and Hellslayer bounties. Terror Essence can come from rewards chests provided by Stygian spires for the best shot at getting your hands on eternal equipment. Make sure you always have Terror Essence handy. If you find yourself falling short or having too many, Essence can be bought or sold at Winton's Grand Market for platinum. So you can buy and sell it for platinum on the market. Of course you can. Oblivion Pillars are the Precipice of Horror's Pinnacle Challenge and the ultimate test of valor for the most seasoned demon slayers. Both the Terror Essence and playing in Inferno difficulty 1 or higher is required to activate an Oblivion Pillar, but experienced adventurers equipped with pulse-pounding combat will fare best in this test of might. Oblivion Pillars can be found near where Terror Rifts spawn in each zone and are accessible at any time. Use a Terror Essence from your inventory to divine the location of the pillar, and then head there and steal yourself. Waves of native supercharged monsters or possibly gold-crazed goblins will rush you. You must hold your ground, survive increasingly vigorous attackers, and wipe them out before the clock runs out. If you can conquer this ultimate test of endurance, the chance to earn eternal equipment and other rewards shall be your spoils. Hellslayer bounties. Diablo's growing influence has warped sections of Sanctuary into a nightmarish hellscape. Witnessing their home being slowly overtaken by dark forces, the usually warring immortals and shadows have put out a contract on their shared enemy. Come one, come all, fearless fighters are needed to eliminate hardy threats in the new Hellslayer bounties. Groups or solo slayers on Inferno difficulty 1 or above can combine their 4 normal active bounties into a Hellslayer bounty at the bounty board for the cost of 1 Terror Essence. Once done, travel to the zone listed on your bounty, locate the Hellslayer bounties portal, and make your stand against vicious hordes in the more forgiving style of Oblivion Pillars gameplay. Should you achieve success by thinning out the ranks of the damned, Codex credit for the 4 normal bounties and a reward chest for the potential to reward eternal equipment shall be yours. Hellslayer bounties are a great way for you to put your Terror Essence to use while also potentially earning eternal equipment. And then we've got eternal equipment. Long forgotten power has just been rediscovered in the form of eternal equipment, and this is a new type, is both the rarest and strongest in Sanctuary. Eternal equipment can only drop from Terror Rifts, Oblivion Pillars, and Hellslayer bounties. It contains 3 attributes and 4 magical affixes, 2 from the existing pool of affixes and 2 from a new pool of class-specific affixes. It can be an item of the primary slot. It can contain cursed or ancestral properties. And with great power comes a new pool of consisting of 56 affixes. These affixes can also be found on items with 1 to 3 magic affixes that drop from Terror Rifts, Oblivion Pillars, and Hellslayer bounties. We can't wait to see how you utilize this bevy of new powers to forge creative class builds and bolster existing strategies. And here is the full list. All right, I'm going to go through these 56, guys, real fast as I can. Barbarian, you get Whirlwind. The Whirlwind range is increased 8%. Undying Rage reduces by negative effect duration by 20%. Sprint now offers a 10% chance for immunity to knockback, cold, and deceleration. Wrath of the Berserker. Wrath of the Berserker has a 10% chance to trigger an explosion every 0.5 seconds, causing 14.470 damage to all nearby enemies. Leap now reduces damage 10% for 3 seconds after the skill use. Hammer of the Ancients increases critical hit damage against stunned enemies by 40%. Furious Charge cooldown is now reduced by 0.04 seconds for every meter move, stacking up to 4 times. And Cleave, the cooldown is reduced by 0.1 second when your primary attack hits an enemy, stacking up to 4 times. For the Blood Knight class, your new ones are Abomination, decreases damage by 20%. Siphon Blood increases movement speed 8%. Sanguinate, cooldown is reduced by 0.04 seconds for every meter dash, stacking up to 4 times. Umbral Lance, the cooldown for multi-target skill attacks is reduced by 0.1 seconds whenever your primary attack hits an enemy. Swarm of Bats, the range is increased by 8%. Whirlwind Strike, that one, the range is increased by 8%. Shroud of Night increases attack speed 8%. Skewer applies 8% armor penetration for 3 seconds. You're going to get, for Crusaders, you're going to get Drawing Quarter has a 10% chance of generating an explosion, dealing 16,902 damage for every 2 meters moved. Falling Sword generates 1 additional sword, which follows you and deals 15,177 damage. Consecration reduces damage by 5%. Holy Banner increases attack speed by 5% for you and nearby allies. Condemn deals 25% more critical hit damage to enemies with less than 30% life. Shield Charge reduces its cooldown by 0.04 seconds for every meter moved. Spinning Shield cooldown is reduced by 0.1 seconds when your primary attack hits an enemy. Conjuration of Light. During Conjuration of Light, your movement speed is increased by 8%. Demon Hunter. Your Daring Swing, the cooldown is reduced by 0.04 seconds for every meter moved, stacking up to 4 times. Knockback Shot deals an additional 3% damage for each meter of distance from the enemy for a maximum of 6 meters. Multi-Shot, cooldown reduced by 0.1 second whenever your primary attack hits an enemy. Impale now has 1 more blade. Damage from multiple blades is reduced. Strafe now has a 10% chance to fire an additional bolt, causing 20,226 damage to struck enemies. Reign of Vengeance, range increased by 8%. Sentry has a 10% chance to fire an additional bolt, dealing 24,870 damage to struck enemies. And Spinning Chakram, while the skill is active, 1 Spinning Chakram will spin around you, dealing 7,050 damage to nearby enemies. Monk, you get Wave of Light, increases critical hit damage by 20% when you're less than 3 meters from the target. Mystic Allies ends, there's a 15% chance of it respawning immediately. 7-Sided Strike has a 15% chance of triggering a combo, stacking up to 4 times. Mystic Strike cooldown is reduced by 0.04 seconds for every meter move, stacking up to 4 times. Shield of Zen is increased by 10%. Flying Kick cooldown is reduced by 0.1 second when your primary attack hits an enemy. Inner Sanctuary increases evasion rating by 7% within the skill area. Exploding Palm damage is dealt to enemies with the bleed status, has a 10% chance to cause an explosion without removing the status. Necromancer, Skeletal Mage, now causes a Dark Curse shield to absorb 109 damage, stacks up to 4 times. Command Golem increases in size by 10%, extending the range of its primary and skill attacks by 10%. Command Skeletons now has a 10% chance to spawn an extra, adjusting their cap accordingly. Developer's note: when stacked once and twice, the upper limit is changed from 4 to 5. When stacked 3 and 4 times, the upper limit is changed to 6. The upper limit of the dead captain is changed to 2, and the upper limit of a dead mage remains unchanged. Corpse Lance increases your movement speed by 10% for 3 seconds. Bone Wall, range increased by 8%. Wraith Form, range increased 8%. Bone Spirits, range increased 8%. Bone Spikes. Apply a new 15% slow effect for 6 seconds. And last but not least, Wizard. You have Ice Armor, increases your movement speed by 8%, stacking up to 4 times. Teleportation reduces its cooldown by 0.04 seconds. Every meter moved, stacking up to 4 times. Arcane Torrent. While active, one arcane projectile will orbit around you, dealing 9,248 damage to enemies. Arcane Wind. Range increased by 8%. Disintegrate, ray increased by 1%. Meteor increases damage to enemies by 8% for 3 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. Ice Crystal now refracts 1 more ray. Lightning Nova increases attack speed by 8% for 3 seconds. So anyway, that is everything I have on the new update. I hope this was informative and really helped you out. If you could really help me out by subscribing or liking this video, I'd greatly appreciate it. I hope that I have given you an in-depth deep dive into the 2024 roadmap and all the new things to expect, and I hope to see you in game. Bye, everyone.